pinky color, and like, am I gonna beat myself up because people on the internet are gonna judge me that I'm not a good minimalist because I have a lipstick collection? It's okay, I'll be the villain. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. So today's minimalism video is actually going to be a subscriber request from Kyle. So Kyle, I'm not sure if he or she, but they have asked me what's my take on decluttering collections. So I'm super excited to talk about that. I have 8 things to say, so without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it, let's go. Woo. Number 1. Your home is not a museum. So this is a more hardcore minimalism tip that I learned from Fumio. He says that you shouldn't have collections because your home is not a museum. And that's something that really resonated with me because I am a Libra, I like pretty things and I like to collect things. And knowing that he's like, you don't have to have collections was really freeing for me. But as you guys will see in these other tips, I don't want to be dogmatic. I just want to share that with you guys in hopes that that may help. I personally don't advocate for that. I do have little things that I consider in the realm of collections. I no longer subscribe to that notion personally. I like having collections. I don't want to declutter my collections, but I know that some people are in their more extreme era of minimalism. So if that's something that could help you, then for sure. I think it actually has more so to do with the next point, which is number 2. Focus on what you buy rather than what you declutter. So if you really don't want to deal with your collection, whether it be like for whatever reason, I think it's sometimes just better to just stop buying and feeding the collection. I think is the first step. Once you've like cut off the blood supply, you can kind of look at your collection. If you already did that, and honestly it's just because your collection is way too big, then you can definitely get into decluttering it. But I think that cutting off what you're buying is going to be very helpful. That way you're not bringing in new things and you can address the beast of your collection and you can just focus on decluttering your collection if that is the intention. If your intention is to just, not keep feeding the collective behavior, then focus on making sure that your mindset is in the right place where you're like, I'm not going to buy this because I'm not trying to feed my, a collection addiction. Okay, and number 3, be slow to buy, be intentional. So obviously I don't want to be super religious and dogmatic with minimalism. That's not my vibe. I'm not that kind of minimalist anymore, as you guys have seen on my channel. I'm not telling anybody else what to do, but I just think that your collection, if you feel like your collections have gotten out of control, I think it could be with the speed at which you collect. I think a collection that is slowly built over time, that has intention, that has memory and has history can be a beautiful thing. So I think that, I don't think that we need to demonize having collections. I think it's more so the intention and the speed of it. If it's gotten out of control, then I think all we need to do is just lower the speed. If you're always buying something every weekend, then you could lower it to maybe once a month or maybe once a season or maybe every quarter of the year. That way you feel like there's more intention behind your collection and you don't have this feeling of guilt or this feeling of overwhelmed with clutter that I think that fast shopping might incur. Okay, number 4, project pan your makeup. So I'm not sure if Kyle was referring necessarily to makeup per se, but the only collections I've really had have been either makeup or clothes, so I'll just speak to those. So if we're talking about makeup, my recommendation would be to try a project pan. I think that those are super helpful. Seeing how long it takes up to use up your makeup can be very eye-opening. You realize that those 3 lipsticks that you felt like throwing in, you'll kind of realize are not worth it, because after you project pan, you'll realize it'll take you almost a year to 2 years to finish 1 tube of makeup with daily application 2 times a day. So when you kind of put these things into perspective, that 1 lipstick is not just, $5, $10. It's actually 2 years of your life. So your commitment to purchasing something becomes different. It becomes a question of, this is going to take me 2 years to finish, to project pan. Do I want to dedicate that to this lipstick? So it no longer becomes about, oh yeah, it's just $5. Rather, is this thing worth 2 years of my life? So I know that that may not necessarily translate to other types of collections. I don't know if that's something you can apply to cars, but I don't have experience with that. So all I can offer up my take is project pan your makeup so your collection stops growing. Okay, number 5, use up your makeup before you start decluttering or buying. So some of the mistakes that I made in my own minimalism journey, I put a big emphasis on decluttering my makeup or buying or not buying makeup as part of my minimalism journey, when I realized the true magic happens with like actually using your makeup. And I think that this is not just something I struggled with. I saw this in a lot of videos that I watched when I was like really deep into my project panning and my makeup rehab, is that a lot of people talked about, they realized that it was the act of buying makeup and making makeup collections that made them feel very happy and satisfied. But the truth was, like, they never actually wore makeup ever. And when they realized that they could no longer buy, because you know they were gonna like project pan, and they realized they actually didn't like wearing makeup, it really did change their relationship with makeup, which is something that I discovered for myself as well too. I love putting on makeup, and so when I stopped buying makeup, I felt like, oh, okay, I really can just sit there and enjoy my makeup. But when I was, you know, buying makeup, I put a lot of emphasis on the shopping, on the research, as opposed to just enjoying the product itself. So I think that for me, in terms of a collection, I do my best to enjoy the collection, enjoy the pieces in the collection, as opposed to the act of collecting and hoarding, which I think is a very natural human behavior. We're like wired to squirrel and hoard. That's just caveman mentality. So it's just, it takes time to override that and to actually enjoy the things in your collection. Okay, number 6, if something is finished, expired, or you just don't like it, it's okay to declutter it. So something that I personally struggled with, and I don't know if other people struggled with this, but in my own minimalism journey, I discovered that decluttering was the most emotionally taxing aspect of minimalism. For me to throw something away was very difficult. It was very emotionally taxing. I felt a lot of guilt, a lot of sadness, a lot of like parting anxiety, which I didn't like. So I got around that by just not bringing new things into my life, so I didn't have to do the one in, one out rule. So for me, I'm very happy with my collection. I don't really declutter things in my collections, to be honest. I would rather love and cherish and appreciate my pieces. So for me personally, I do think the only things you should be decluttering are things that you're finished, the bottle is empty, it's expired, like I'm talking like really old, because I'm guilty. If it's 2 or 3 years old, I'll still keep it, like super expired, like I'm talking like 10 years, or you really don't like it, like a green eyeshadow is just not your look. I think it's okay to declutter those type of things. I don't think you should force yourself to declutter something if you don't want to. I feel like that's gonna end up with a lot of minimalism regret. I'm obviously not trying to advocate for you to squirrel, that's not my vibe, but I'm just saying that like just get rid of things that you didn't want. Don't get rid of things that spark joy, make you happy, because it's your collection. You're allowed to cherish your collection as a minimalist. I know that maybe Fumio would not agree with me, but I'm not Fumio, so I'm not going to, you know, advocate for that if that's not what I personally believe. I think it's okay for you to enjoy your collection and just be intentional, and you can let go of the things that you didn't really want in the first place. Okay, number 7. So it's okay to not love everything that we bought. So I think this is in the realm of what people call like shopping regret. Is that what it is? Buyer's remorse? Oh, I think that's the term, where you bought something and you might have had the best of intentions and you were very intentional with it. I know this happens to the best of us, and you're kind of like, honestly, I don't know what I was thinking when I bought it. I really don't like it. Whether it still has a tag on it, you only wore it a couple times, you quickly realize this isn't for you. And when these type of things happen, I think it's okay for us to forgive ourselves that we made a shopping mistake and to let it go. I think that that's something that could definitely help with decluttering your collection. If there's things in your collection that you realize that it's just really not working out, we don't have to beat ourselves up about it. We don't have to be angry that we made a mistake and brought something into our collection that isn't for us. We can let that go and move on with our lives. Thank it and move on with our lives. Okay, and number 8, and I'm gonna leave this on the last note, which is I actually think it's okay to have collections. This may not be a popular notion in the minimalism community, but I personally think it's okay to have collections. As someone who used to be an extreme minimalist, very anti-collections, I don't know, I don't fight it anymore. My collections bring me joy. I'm very happy with my collections. Like, I'll show you guys my makeup. So this is my little lipstick collection. I think is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It sparks joy in my life. Sometimes I want a clear gloss. Sometimes I want a spicy pinky color. And like, am I gonna beat myself up because people on the internet are gonna judge me that I'm not a good minimalist because I have a lipstick collection? It's okay, I'll be the villain. So if that's something that brings you peace, you should love and cherish your collection and be intentional with your collection. Get rid of the pieces that you don't want, and you should keep the pieces that you do want, because at the end of the day, I personally think it is okay to enjoy your collection, because that is just human nature. We love to hoard pretty and magical things. So thank you so much, Kyle, for the subscriber request. I really appreciate it. I hope that this could have entertained and helped anybody else out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.